Hey guys, this is your host Nitin Binhani and a very warm welcome to my startup podcast channel Jazair Audio, where we share real stories with real learnings. So friends, in today's podcast, I have invited Pradeep Krishnakumar, the co-founder and CEO of Zouk. Now, Zouk is an Indian brand which makes 100% vegan leather bags. These are handcrafted by expert artisans. In its over 2 years of operations, Zouk today has over 30,000 plus customers. And in this podcast, Pradeep will share how his co-founder Disha Singh mooted the idea of building Zouk, their earlier challenges, key mistakes they made, the learnings from them, and finally 3 key inputs which every founder must understand to build a long-term venture. So let's welcome our today's special guest. Hi Pradeep, welcome to Jazair Audio and thank you for talking to us.
Thank you Nitin for inviting me. Very excited to be part of this channel.
So can you give a short intro on Zouk? How the idea was really mooted?
Sure. So Zouk is a direct-to-consumer brand currently selling bags and accessories. We're a 100% PETA-approved vegan brand. We're also a proudly Indian brand. In fact, Nitin, we started saying proudly India, much before vocal for local and Atmanirbhar Bharat was in vogue, right? So we've been saying that for quite some time now, right? We have about 30,000 plus happy customers across India. In fact, a couple of our bags also appeared on Netflix's popular series, Little Things 3. And Zouk started when, my co-founder Disha, she visited Kutch in Gujarat as part of an IIM Ahmedabad course. Okay. And, she saw that, all our friends really loved the products, but nobody bought them. Right. And the key thing was around saying that, hey, products are great, but they're not functional. They don't fit into the modern sensibilities. Right. And from there, we really started Zouk with the idea of really building both stylish as well as functional products. But the core part was having an essence of India, right? And that's how Zouk really started off as well.
And how did you guys really build Zouk from scratch?
So, we spent quite a lot of time actually building the right product, seeing what are the type of bags that's there, both in terms of, like I said, style and functionality, and then really build that out. For us, where, in MBA, we taught a lot about, doing surveys, etc. What we actually did was went one step ahead and took our products to exhibitions. In fact, we did about 50 plus exhibitions in the first 6 months itself, right? Okay. Because at that point, and even now, the market is heavily offline first, right? Mm-hmm. And that's where we started seeing a lot more traction. Also, that meant that cash flow started coming in, right? So we felt that the real validation is when, a customer actually pays for a product, right? So it started with exhibitions, and then over a period of time, we shifted online completely. And then that's how we've really scaled up now to the 30,000 customers that we have and, the spread across all parts of India now.
That's great. So what were the key challenges or impact that arose from COVID-19 and how did you pivot your model?
So I think COVID is an unprecedented challenge. Nobody expected, and it just hit us suddenly, right? As a category, we are in the non-essential category, right? So e-commerce non-essential was practically shut for at least 2 months. The good decision we took was, we said employee safety is most important. So we ensured that, we were not operating and people were at home safe, and we continuously did, conversations every week, even when they were at home, right? Saying that please be at home, don't venture around, take care of yourself, etc. Right? On the side, we also kept engaging with customers with the idea that, hey, we'll be back soon. We're all good. We're just waiting for things to get better and then we'll be back. We used social media and email very effectively during that period. And that was critical. Keeping customers engaged and keeping employees engaged, right? Both things we did in parallel. And I think it's not just the founders. I think the team also really came together. They would call us, right? So we're very thankful to the team for being with us through that tough period. And then now we're back, and I think the acceleration of online and people purchasing online has really given us a boost as well. We've already crossed pre-COVID levels a few months back and really scaling fast. In fact, the team has almost tripled now, right? From pre-COVID to now, orders have increased. So positive for now, but it was a challenging phase that we went through.
Does that mean you actually pivoted from offline to online model?
No, so we were always online. After the starting period of starting up Zouk. So even just pre-COVID, Jan, Feb, we were a purely online brand only. So we just continued with that. We did not change anything there. We still felt that the market is massive. There are multiple players who are large, and we know we have a very, very differentiated product. So we knew that the market is not going anywhere. It's just we have to patiently wait it out. What we did was a lot of engagement with customers to understand them better, so that when things get back to normal, we're able to kind of tap into that. And that we've done now, and we'll continue kind of doing that, improving systems, understanding customers, improving our messaging, improving our packaging. All of that we did during the time of COVID.
Okay, so what have been your key mistakes during the whole journey, and what were the learnings from them?
Nitin, I'm glad you said big mistakes, because we make mistakes every day, right? Mm-hmm. I think one of the things that we always keep saying internally is we have to keep trying new things, experimenting. We just need to make sure the experiment is not too big that we put too much at risk. And second rule is never repeat the same mistake again. Make sure that if you made a mistake and you learned something, we don't repeat that, and we use that learning going forward. So I think we've made a ton of mistakes, and we keep learning from that. I think the first one was, while going offline first was a great idea. It helped us improve our product, discover pricing, which I think is a very, very key lever, etc. After a point, we realized this is not scaling up. And that's when, I think when revenues are flowing, you are a bit hesitant to kind of make that shift. But then we waited for about a month, 2 months, and then decided we have to shift completely to online. And we made that hard shift, moving on to, building our own website, which surprisingly didn't take that much time. We built our entire website in about 2 weekends time, and then just started selling online, given, so many powerful tools these days like Shopify, etc. So we could make that shift, but taking that decision to shift was a big one, and that I think we delayed it a bit. But we've learned our lesson on that now. Second is, I think as founders, sometimes we just feel we have to learn everything on our own, right? But I think this one was a much smaller one. We realized very soon that we have to get people better than us in each of the positions that we fill, and that we've done. And we look for team players, right? I mean, we're not hiring the most senior folks early on, because as a company you can't afford that, right? But we've hired team players who also, are energetic, enthusiastic, don't mind, lack of process, and actually thrive and hustle through that, right? And that is an important thing. I think what we learned a little later was that you can also ask for help from other entrepreneurs. And I think other entrepreneurs are super, super helpful. We have learned so much from a lot of them, especially when we go to them with a pointed question, right? And they really help us with lots of answers. So I think those are certain things that we've learned from our mistakes in the past.
Great sharing, Pradeep. So I believe you have bootstrapped Zouk for over 2 years. How has been this experience?
So Nitin, I think both founders we met at IIM Ahmedabad, and our MBA taught us that a business has to be run profitably, right? That's what a business was for us, right? So that's always been the aim from day one. And second was the fact that we were in it for at least the next 10 years, right? We know that as entrepreneurs, we're going to be in it for 10 years always, right? So we weren't really worried about, fast growth. For us, it was about building a very iconic brand over a long period of time. We knew that's when an outcome will be great, and that's what we've always continued and thought of. So we took our time to kind of really figure out the market, figuring out the right product, and scaling up in a profitable way. Yeah. That's what we've always done from start, and that's what we do today as well. Every decision we take is based on that only, right? So, which has meant that, for us, how we think of it is, I think running a bootstrap business is great because it forces you to take decisions which are right for the business at all points of time, and, keeping the fundamentals in its core. Having said that, I think what we also need is the right partners, right, with whom we can work. In fact, over a period of time, we've also said no to a few people whom we felt we were not the right fit. And I think once we find the right partners, we will be kind of working with them. So I wouldn't say everyone should bootstrap. I think you should do it when you're comfortable, etc. Right? But for all businesses, I think people should think of it as it's a long-term play, and businesses truly are supposed to be run in a profitable manner. Right? So those were our kind of guiding principles in the bootstrap journey.
Finally, what are the 3 things which every startup founder must do in order to build a long-term enduring business?
I think first and foremost, all businesses are built around customers. I think customer is most important, right? Yeah. We can have a great website experience, etc. But at the end, it's all about the bag that reaches the customer and how that customer feels, right? So when a customer really likes saying the print is great, or hey, so nice that it's a vegan bag. I feel more responsible, right? That's when we really feel the kick over everything else. So always think about the customer, and one will be surprised how different a customer's expectation is from what you think their expectation is, right? So I think build for a customer and be in touch with the customer always. Second, when you say long-term businesses, right? And business is supposed to be a long-term business, a long-term play. Think of building the brand. I think you need to start building the brand very, very soon, right? And every decision you take, you need to think of, hey, how does it hamper the brand? How does it help the brand? Etc. Right? So always think of the brand, and brand building is not an overnight exercise, right? It's not just about, starting a social media channel and a website. That's not a brand, right? A brand is where, the customer recalls you and recalls what you stand for over a period of time. So I think that is important. And third, I think is, while we all look at making very fancy looking products, fancy packaging, all of that happens, I think, and again, this is not just true for India, I think across the world, pricing is a very key lever. One cannot, I cannot say, like, for our sector itself, right? We could be pricing our products at 500, 2,000, 10,000, 1 lakh or even more, right? So pricing is a very key decision that people have to take as well as things scale up.
So with this, we have reached at the end of this podcast. Pradeep, it was really a pleasure to have you on Jazai Radio, and thank you for sharing great insights with us.
So thank you so much, Nitin. Wish you and your family a very happy new year, and all the folks listening, let's make 2021 great.
Are you a founder of an early stage startup and looking to raise funding? Get your startup investor ready before even you start pitching to your prospective investors. For know-how, please visit www.jazaro.in. That is www.jasaro.in.
Lastly, I want to thank all the listeners who took their valuable time to listen to this podcast. Keep rocking, be safe, and don't forget to share.